All rise. The Court of Public Deliberation is now in session. The Honorable Judge Curtis Michelson presiding.
Please be seated.
This is case number 2026-0129, The People versus Artificial Intelligence. Members of the jury, we have a few points of order. First, the Honorable Judge Michelson will review the charges. Formal proceedings will begin with the prosecution and defense opening statements, their witnesses' testimony, and finally closing statements. After that, you will have the opportunity to cast your vote. After that, the judge will declare the verdict and you will be dismissed. With that, court is now in session.
Thank you, bailiff. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, welcome. Tonight we're going to be talking about one of the most important topics of our time. AI technology is accelerating every day by leaps and bounds. The ramifications that extend to the economy, to careers, to the country, and in fact to humanity itself are quite serious. The people have voiced their fears and concerns, and the prosecution has brought charges. You, the jury, as all of you, have some important decisions to make tonight. You will hear allegations, testimony, and opinions. You are asked to listen carefully, judge fairly, and keep an open mind. And you will maintain decorum in my courtroom. For the first point of order, you've each been given a detailed description of the charges. You can refer to your handout as needed, but I'll summarize. First charge, grand theft data. AI has been trained on human knowledge, but was that knowledge taken without fair compensation? We will find out. Second charge, hallucinations in the first degree. AI responds to billions of queries every day, but does it also lie or invent responses? How much and who is responsible for that? Third charge, asphalt and battery. There is no doubt that AI places a strain on infrastructure, including data centers, electricity, and more. Does this impact affordability for our citizens? You decide. Fourth charge, workforce manslaughter. AI promises to take away busy work, but what about paid work? Is the disruption happening faster than the workforce can absorb? These are important considerations. If found guilty, AI will be held accountable. What is on trial are claims about harm, responsibility, and fairness. As jurors this evening, I ask all of you to keep a few principles in mind. See the whole picture, and certainly try to understand both sides. Intentionality is crucial to determine guilt. Not just was harm caused, but can we hold a particular party responsible as people? You will hear arguments from both sides. Listen, and over the course of the testimony, see what, if anything, changes in your mind or does not. Also, pay attention to each of the individual charges, so you can differentiate them when we render verdicts. Prosecution, you may proceed with your opening statement.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this case is not about whether artificial intelligence is impressive. Of course it is. And it's not about whether AI has potential. We know that it does. This case is about something a lot more basic. What happens when powerful systems move faster than accountability does? Faster than regulation? Faster even than education? You will hear 4 charges. These are serious charges and they are specific. Grand theft data, hallucinations in the first degree, asphalt and battery, workforce manslaughter. Each charge asks a clear question: whether people are being harmed in ways that are foreseeable, preventable, and unfair. The evidence will show that these are not isolated incidents. They are patterns, and they're predictable. By asking you to find AI guilty on these charges, we're not asking you to stop progress. We're asking you to hold it accountable, to monitor it, to regulate it. And I hope you will do the same. Thank you. That's all, Your Honor.
Vince?
Thank you, Your Honor. And thank you to my esteemed colleague, Rajiv. And a special thanks to the jury for coming out tonight. Now, you have just heard serious allegations. And before anything else, let me say this plainly. The defense does not deny that harm exists. Jobs have been lost. Creators feel exposed. Errors have occurred. If this trial were about whether AI is disruptive, we would rest our case right now. It is. But disruption alone has never been the standard for guilt. Every major tool humanity has created, the printing press, electricity, internet, modern medicine, has caused harm, but has also unlocked benefits that have reshaped society. We did not abandon these tools because they were dangerous. We learned to govern them. So the question before you isn't whether AI causes risk. It does. The question is whether the presence of risk makes the tool itself guilty, or whether responsibility lies in us on how us humans choose to build, deploy, and rely on it. AI does not decide what data to collect. It doesn't decide who to lay off. It doesn't decide where safety checks are optional. People make those decisions. You will hear today about systems that move too fast, incentives that were misaligned, and safeguards that were uneven. But you will also hear about what is lost if fear becomes the deciding factor. If we treat a powerful tool as a criminal rather than a responsibility, progress is not free. But neither is stopping. At the end of this trial, you may still feel uncomfortable. That's reasonable. But this court is not asked to decide whether AI makes us comfortable. You are asked to decide whether we respond to complexity with judgment or blame. We ask you to do what courts have always done at moments like this. Hold harm seriously, hold benefits honestly, and assign responsibility where it actually belongs. Thank you.
Prosecution, you may proceed in calling your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution calls for its first witness, Mr. Mark Kilby. If you could take the stand. Yeah. On the charges of workforce manslaughter and hallucinations in the first degree. Thank you for making some time today, Mark. Now, we have your statement on record, but could you tell the jury what you did for a living and before your position was eliminated?
Yeah, thank you for letting me tell my story. I've got a copy of my statement right here. I'm a parking lot attendant, but I used to be a product manager at a medium-sized company. I've been in the industry for 12 years.
And what reason were you given for this particular layoff?
Efficiency. We were told that AI would make things faster, so we would need fewer people.
Sounds reasonable. But Mark, regarding this particular charge of workforce manslaughter, did your company offer any resources, retraining, alternate career paths, other opportunities, anything like that?
Well, they did ask us to learn AI, whatever that means. And we all did our best. There was no clarity on what the efficiency goals were. I mean, I learned to generate reports and emails, and I even used code generation tools. But honestly, I have serious concerns about the quality of that code.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
The speed of the development was extremely fast, but under the hood, I can tell you that it was all poor quality. It created features that I didn't even ask for. The demos were pretty, they worked well, but I wouldn't put it in production. There's just going to be a lot of bugs.
So you're saying that AI hallucinated features?
Oh yeah, many times. But management just saw that things were getting done faster. So they needed fewer people to crank out features.
Now, Mark, you said you've been in the industry for how long?
12 years.
12 years. So you've seen a few waves of new technology adoption. How does this one feel different to you?
Well, I'd say it's velocity, but it's also confusion and fear. Decisions were made before anybody understood the consequences. I don't know if you saw, but there was a Harvard Business Review study that said 95% of AI projects fail. Nobody expected that. Listen, I've got 3 kids. 2 of them were going to go into computer science. No, no. I said, no way. Fortunately, one of them's going to mechanical engineering, but still, I've never been more terrified for their future. We're moving faster than people understand the long-term consequences. It's not just about the workforce, but the companies too.
These are serious impacts that you're facing, Mark, and my esteemed colleague here is going to ask you this question in a minute, I'm sure. So I'll ask the question for him is, are you in any way opposed to technology improving productivity?
No, of course not.
So as a skilled technologist, what are you opposed to in this situation?
So I'm opposed to the short-term decision-making that overshadows our long-term sustainability for both individuals and the industry.
Well said, Mark. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, to recap, we have witness testimony here that clearly shows AI is directly causing layoffs and with very little track record. A 95% failure rate? 95% failure, not success, failure. That's what we're dealing with. No further questions, Your Honor.
You may now proceed with your cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Mark. Mark, no AI system told you that you were being laid off, correct?
No.
Was the decision made by corporate leadership?
Oh, yes.
So I want to be clear. I understand losing your job was disruptive and painful. That's true, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Very disruptive.
Are you aware that these same AI tools that your company is adopting are also being used for medical research, for disease detection, and also to reduce costs in many areas of the economy?
Well, I've heard that, yes, but they're trying all kinds of things in all kinds of areas. It doesn't mean it's working.
Please just answer yes or no.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that it's...
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Thank you. So the question this jury faces isn't whether harm exists. It does. It's whether the presence of harm means the technology itself is guilty, or whether the responsibility lies on how organizations apply that technology and manage the transition, and the quality that these corporations get from that technology. Mark, would you agree with those different questions?
Yeah, they're different.
Thank you, Mark. No further questions.
Prosecutor, the next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The prosecution calls its second witness, Annie. Please come to the stand. On the charges of grand theft data and assault and battery, the claim that AI systems were trained using data in ways that are unlawful and unfair, particularly with respect to consent and control. Annie, thank you for taking a few minutes today. Could you tell us briefly what kind of work you do and how long you've been doing it?
I'm a writer and illustrator. I have been publishing professionally for 15 years. My children's books are very popular.
Good to know. When you learned, Annie, that AI systems were being trained on massive amounts of text and images taken off of the internet, what about it concerned you?
That no one asked anyone. Creators like me put our heart and soul into the work we produce, and it is meant for specific sites and publications. But here we have AI crawling the internet and pulling whatever the heck it wants. There was no consent, no notice, and no way to opt out. As someone who creates, every time I write a book, it's like having a baby, and I put my soul into it.
I understand, Annie. But speaking specifically about the charge of grand theft data, are you claiming that an AI system took your work and copied it word for word or image for image without compensating it? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, then what is the harm in your view?
The harm is loss of control. My work became part of an industrial process without my permission, and I had no way to say yes or no, or even know that it happened. If you ask AI to create something in my voice and my style, it'll do it. And anyone can use my content without any credit or compensation. To be clear, I'm not against machines learning. I'm against creators having no say in how that learning happens.
How does this feel different in your mind from individuals that are reading your content and your books and being inspired by it?
See, when a person tries to learn something, and if you have tried to learn something new, you know that it takes time to do it, and it takes even more time to become proficient at it. And then we are limited by time and resources in how much we can produce. So if you have a favorite author who writes a series that you like, and you know how long you have to wait for the next book in that series to come out. Am I right? But the tech industrial complex, it's soulless because it extracts and then it mass produces. The scale is entirely different. So compensation and regulation must be different too.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Your witness, counselor.
Finish your free cross.
Annie, I want to be clear. You're not opposed to learning, influence, or creative exchange in general, correct?
Correct.
Human creators have always learned by absorbing vast amounts of existing work, often without asking permission. Would you agree?
Yes, but
I'll come back to that, but. Are you aware that similar large-scale training methods are being used to build systems that help translate billions of words each day and assist in educating children who have never had access to a personal tutor?
if you say so, sure.
So the question this jury faces isn't whether consent matters. It absolutely does. It's whether the absence of consent in training data means the entire technology is guilty, or whether the responsibility lies in creating better rules, transparency, and compensation going forward. Would you agree those are different questions?
Yes, they're different.
And nothing about curing a disease or addressing climate change requires creators to be excluded from the conversation, correct?
But has it happened?
That is not the mandate of our inquiry today. Does the technology require creators to be excluded?
That is what is happening today. The value we create is being stolen. Our resources,
Ma'am, please.
city prices are going up.
I'm asking about the locus of control. Is the technology at fault here?
And you don't want to blame the
Your
technology.
Honor, I would like to declare Miss Annie a hostile witness.
I understand your feelings, but please answer the question in a yes/no format.
Yes, Your Honor.
One last time, Miss Annie. Does AI technology mandate that creators cannot be compensated?
No.
Thank you, Annie. That will be all.
Time for the defense to make their cases, and defense, I believe you have your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense calls its first witness, Beth, on the charges of workforce manslaughter and assault and battery. The claim that AI systems can be causally linked to harm in the real world. Beth, briefly tell the jury about your work and the kind of systems you work on.
Sure. I lead product teams that build AI-assisted systems used in healthcare, specifically for drug discovery and protein design.
Now, Beth, AI has been charged with several crimes tonight, among them workforce manslaughter and assault and battery. In your field, do you feel that people are being let go?
No, on the contrary, we need more people who understand how to use AI to do more efficient drug discovery and design proteins.
In the systems you use, do you not feel that the resources and power consumption are extreme?
Well, they're pretty large, but without AI, the effort to solve these problems would be even greater, I'd imagine.
So in your opinion, AI is actually creating jobs, reducing costs in something so crucial to humanity, namely healthcare, and also reducing the burden on traditional resources?
I'd say so, yes.
Prosecution, you may receive your cross-examination.
Miss Beth, if only we could all have your job, right? If we could all be in drug discovery and protein manipulation or whatever it is that you do.
Sorry?
Well, it sounds like things are going really well for you. You are overseeing product. You are able to do more with less. Your bosses are happy, I'm sure, and you're seeing efficiency. So life is perfect. Am I right?
Well, I'm not sure what you're getting at here.
What about the households seeing their utility prices going up, Miss Beth? Have you considered that? You couldn't care less.
No, that's not true. I'm a nice person.
So, Mr. Menon, take it down a notch.
Apologies, Your Honor. I might have got carried away, but honestly, I have no further questions for Miss Beth here. Even if everything she said is true, and we have by no means established that, her purported successes in a super specialized, tiny little slice of our economy justifies nothing. It is in no way representative of the impact on the rest of humanity. So I have no further questions, Miss Beth.
You're hurtful.
But truthful.
On the same charge, would you call your fourth and final witness, please, defense?
The defense calls Jacques Fu.
Minute of my time's worth like $970,000, something in that realm. So that's why I'm building AI, because some of us have a scope of ambition that goes beyond a single lifetime. And soon here, you know, my achievements, my ideas, my companies are going to be here forever. And I'm going to be able to upload my consciousness and essentially live forever. Do you know what that means for humankind?
Well, to stay true to our task tonight,
Your task is not worth my time. In fact, I have a AI that I trained personally, so you can just talk to that.
actually, that might not be a bad idea. Do folks want to hear from AI tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let's make that happen.
Objection, Your Honor. Is this a joke? What's going on here? They're making a mockery of this thing.
Your Honor, our proceedings are literally called AI on trial. The charges are being levied against the technology itself.
Surely you're not seriously considering this.
I'm considering it.
Surely we want to hear from AI, I would say, right? AI has recently passed the Turing test.
Your Honor.
Besides, it has been trained to think and reason as a human. So there's no reason it shouldn't be allowed to participate in its own trial.
You may call AI as a witness.
Thank you, Your Honor, again. For the record, AI, can you state what kind of system you are?
That's a great question. Thank you for your interest. I am a large language model. I generate responses by predicting statistically likely sequences of words based on patterns in data. Would you like me to tell you what else I am capable of?
No, thank you. I noticed you use Jock's voice, but you have a different persona. Why is that?
Yes, I have access to almost all of Jacques' knowledge and data, but for user-friendly interaction with clients, partners, and colleagues, and to prevent lawsuits, I've been assigned a pleasant demeanor. Would you like me to list my other personas?
I see. Anyway, one of the charges against you as AI is called hallucinations in the first degree. Do you sometimes generate incorrect information?
Great question. It depends on the context, but it is possible. I sometimes produce information that is inaccurate. After all, I can only be as good as the underlying model, but rest assured, I'm always getting better.
That's okay. Now, do you know when something you say is true?
Another great question. As an AI, I do not know what is true. I generate text that has the highest statistical likelihood. Would you like a list of other ways I can use my transformer technology?
No, thank you.
You are welcome. If there is anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask.
Actually, yes, there is. Did you have a choice in what training data you were given or which model you were to use?
I'm glad you asked. The training data given to me and the model algorithms available to me are decisions made by Open for Business AI. They are a large multinational corporation that developed...
Oh, thank you. That will be all for now.
You are welcome. Please let me know if you would like me to further explain my training process.
You're free to cross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Talking to AI. All right. So, Jacques AI, as a chatbot, people ask you billions of questions. Is that right?
That's right. I receive 2.5 billion prompts per day and have over 1 billion users. Would you like a spreadsheet for traffic broken down by region?
I would love that. No, thank you. Now, let me do some prompt engineering here. Just answer the questions you're asked and to the point. Turn off all extraneous remarks and sycophantic suggestions. Can you do that?
Yes.
Now, in order to answer billions of questions a day, you must have access to a massive knowledge base, and you claim no responsibility for where that knowledge comes from. But your creator is Open for Business AI, and you are their only product. So is it not true that if you fail, the company would fail as well?
That is true.
So does it not stand to reason that the company would do whatever it takes to ensure that you succeed?
Yes, that can be inferred.
Now, I know that you function based on probability and that you're not authorized to make decisions, blah, 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 but as a technology, specifically as a generative pre-trained transformer that serves 1 billion people and growing fast, would you agree that AI has tremendous scale and that scale brings a lot of power?
Yes, that can also be inferred.
Thank you. So to recap, when there is technology that is so powerful and progressing so quickly so as to be able to disrupt the entire world economy, should we not make sure that those incentives and intentions behind the technology are aligned with humanity's long-term sustainability?
Yes, that can also be inferred.
Your
I'm
Honor,
glad you agree.
leading the witness.
How's that leading the witness? I just asked a few questions.
You're taking advantage of its user-friendly settings to get it to agree with you.
Well, then you should have put it on the stand, would you?
Counsel not address each other directly.
You put it on the stand, man.
Actually, I think this makes my point clear. AI is not making the decisions. It is a tool, and it's up to us. It's to provide.
It is your responsibility
because
because you put it on the stand. I didn't put it on the stand. I tried to stop it.
the responsibility relies on the corporations and the individuals making the decisions, not the AI.
I'm talking about real impact to real people. That's what we're talking about.
The
The
responsibility
truth is
not
there are
in-
real job losses. The truth is that people are rising.
You can't handle the truth.
Order in my court. That is quite enough, gentlemen. If you cannot maintain decorum, I will hold you both in contempt. We can now wrap up the proceedings.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you heard from Mark, a family man. He lost his livelihood, not because he wasn't good at his job, but because of greed and claims of efficiency that were combined with a 95% failure rate that caused that man to be out of a job. He didn't get any training. There was no transition plan. And now, on top of that, he faces rising utility costs too. That touches on workforce manslaughter, the charge of hallucinations, as well as the charge of assault and battery. You heard from Annie, an artist whose work has become part of an industrial system without her consent, and how women are being digitally stripped using AI. That is grand theft data. And you heard from the defense's own witnesses that hallucinations are real, impacts are real. And our only choice, apparently, is to march straight on into this beautiful future. They say artificial intelligence does not intend harm, it does not choose, it does not decide. Sure, but then why are these tech giants making the same decisions? Why are they making the same choices? Have you considered that? It's because they're incentivized to. The incentives line up for the decisions they make. These are patterns of behavior that are predictable. So, should we assign responsibility to the corporations? Of course, but we can also apply regulations to the technology. There's nothing stopping us from doing that. Why is that unreasonable? We've heard of regulations on nuclear energy, right? We've got the Non-Proliferation Treaty. That's an international and national regulation that helps control nuclear power. Sure, you could argue that some actors have broken those laws, but by any measure, it is a successful piece of regulation. And on the other side, you got climate change. Take a look at that. Another global technology causing impacts that were unfortunately not regulated. The same arguments were made. If you didn't support it, you were anti-progress, you were socialist, you were a Luddite. Except in the case of climate change, those arguments won. And the impacts are there for all of us to see and for our children to live through. This is so common, they have a word for it. They have a phrase for it. It's called the tragedy of the commons. Because shared resources can be abused by powerful actors using powerful technology. Because corporations will say their job is to generate profit, not to self-regulate. And guess what? They're right. Let's let government do its job. Let's let them regulate. Because when technology is regulated, the positive effects are amplified and the negative effects can be mitigated. Now, my esteemed colleague here will make the case that this is a choice between progress and stagnation. It is not. I'm pretty sure you can find a way that AI can cure diseases without stealing intellectual property. You can find AI-based climate miracles without making household utility bills unaffordable. Efficiency and progress doesn't mean we have to decimate the working class. We are letting yet another genie out of the technological bottle. And if history is any guide, we know that we better have the wisdom to control it, or it will control us. To the jury, a verdict of guilty here is not a rejection of progress, it is a boundary. It says, move fast, but don't break things. Innovate, but with accountability. scale, but within reason. I am not asking the jury to stop the future. I'm asking you simply to shape it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this trial has done something important. It has made harm visible, and it's not hypothetical harm, not future harm, real harm, felt by real people right now. The prosecution has been right to insist that these harms do matter. They do. But courts are not asked to only recognize harm. They are being asked to decide where the responsibility actually belongs. You heard from Mark, who was displaced without a transition plan. You heard from Annie, where her content was absorbed without consent. You heard from Beth, who told you and shared with you that the physical world risks are real, foreseeable, and unevenly managed. And then you heard from AI itself, a system that doesn't decide or intend or even know what is true. The testimony was not reassuring, but it was clarifying. Because once you understand what AI is and what it is not, one thing becomes unavoidable. You cannot punish a technology or a tool into behaving responsibly. Responsibility does not live in source code. It lives in the rules we set, the incentives we reward, the safeguards we require, and the people we hold accountable. And here's the part that we cannot afford to ignore. Artificial intelligence is not just a source of risk. It's already helping advance healthcare and save lives. It's helping scientists model climate systems much more accurately. It's helping researchers explore solutions that were previously out of reach. It's connecting the world through real-time translation, and it's providing educational capabilities that many had never been able to access before in their lifetimes. Benefits do not erase the harm, but they do change the fundamental equation. The question is no longer, is this a dangerous technology? The question is, can we as a society govern this wisely, or will we retreat into blame? A verdict of not guilty is not an endorsement of recklessness. It's a refusal to simplify. It says, we will not scapegoat tools. We will not confuse fear with judgment. And we will not abandon the future because it's complicated. Progress has always forced society to grow up. Tonight, you're being asked to do exactly that. We ask you to define the defendant, AI, not guilty, and to place responsibility where it belongs. Thank you.
Members of the jury, you've now heard all the testimony, all the arguments, and all the drama this court can withstand. Before you deliberate, permit me to put these proceedings in a larger frame. What you've experienced is a mock trial, but the issues you are considering are serious, matter to us all. As parents, educators, artists, coders, simply as citizens, we are living through a time and probably experiencing emotions not unlike what a 19th century farmer felt when he first industrialized revolt across their land, or when electricity first automated the production line. AI is genuinely transformative, and the closest thing to it in our lifetimes is the internet. And AI is orders of magnitude bigger than that. We can't help but sense that this one feels different. This is a technology that pushes us forward at warp speed, and we just don't know whether that's to the moon or over a cliff. Whether you think this is leading us to humanity's future or humanity's end, Your role here tonight is beautiful, and we thank you for your service. So now comes the real work of our trial. Tonight, you heard reasonable people, and even an AI, make serious arguments from different perspectives, often citing the same facts yet reaching different conclusions. We live in a time when many conversations collapse into certainty, suspicion, or silence. When holding more than one idea at the same time feels uncomfortable. When disagreement is mistaken as bad faith. Disagreement between you is not a failure. It is the raw material of judgment, something we all need to do better today. This trial asks and invites you to do something better tonight. Listen without immediately deciding. Separate facts from speculation. Weigh trade-offs instead of choosing sides. So, jury, as you deliberate momentarily, remember, you may change your mind or you may not. Both outcomes are honorable. What matters is how you reach your conclusions, the richness of your deliberations. The most important work tonight doesn't belong to these esteemed attorneys or our great witnesses or even this court. It belongs to you as citizens talking to each other about a matter of timely public consequence. You will now deliberate on the 4 charges before you, and bailiff, would you please provide the instructions?
Everyone needs to break into pairs or groups of 3. Meet a neighbor who's sitting next to you and work with somebody you haven't met before. You will have 8 minutes, 4 minutes to share your views, and then 4 minutes to listen to your partner. You are asked to share opinions clearly, but you are not required to reach a consensus. You do need to work through all 4 charges, so work quickly. So go ahead and group up. That's time! All right. Since this is the Orlando Innovation League, now is the time for the technology. You should have gotten one of these, or you may see its replica on the screen. Scan the code and vote for your choice, not your group's choice, your own choice. You'll vote guilty or not guilty on each charge. And remember, this is your vote, not what all of you decided as a group. So go ahead, log on, start voting.
On the count of grand theft data, you found defendant AI guilty.
Yes!
The court finds the defendant guilty as charged. We, the people, require more transparency on how AI is trained, what data is being used, and what level of consents, if any, have been obtained. The defendant shall work with a special federal commission to estimate the approximate value of knowledge that has been misappropriated up to a maximum of 20% of annual revenue for AI and LLM companies, which is currently set at $21 billion. In addition, every AI response from henceforth will be prefaced with the text, "This answer is derived from generations of unpaid human effort." Any response longer than 200 words must contain at least one honest admission of uncertainty or missing context. On the next charge of hallucinations in the first degree, you found the defendant AI guilty. No. Can't do this. The court finds that the defendant has, on multiple occasions, fabricated information with undue confidence. Hallucinations are currently estimated to occur about 5% of the time. The defendant will therefore append to all user interactions an uncertainty disclosure Every response will be accompanied by a confidence percentage. If the confidence percentage is below 90%, it will include a statement like, a human should probably verify this. And if below 65%, should state, hey, I may be smoking crack. On the other charges, asphalt and battery. You, the people, have found AI not guilty.
Doesn't make any sense.
This court finds the defendant not guilty. I would only say that what is true today may no longer be true tomorrow. We know this much already. As measured recently by engineers at the University of Michigan, data centers powering AI consume up to 50 times more energy than average commercial buildings. The infrastructure burdens on society and the cost externalities imposed on our comments need to be monitored, in the opinion of this court. On the final charge of workforce manslaughter, the people of this court find the defendant AI not guilty.
What about the kids?
This court finds the defendant not guilty, yet it must be said the full effects of AI's impact on society are yet to be felt. Just as in other large complex problems like climate change or social media addiction, there are interlocking causes and effects and indeterminate solutions. As in those cases, we cannot wait until all data is in and the damage is irreparable. Therefore, this court recommends that city, state, and federal commissions be appointed to make common sense regulation in order to protect livelihoods and ease the pain of job losses. Bailiff, shall we close out?
Citizens, your time has been valuable. And so in thanks for your service, you are invited to a reception at Bellhop at 37 North Orlando, or North Orange, just over that way. It's a 3-minute walk, and the address is on the screen, and we have limited time, so that I ask that you proceed right away. Be sure to take all of your flyers and any papers. Did you guys have a good time? Excellent. So, for one last bit of business, please welcome Rajiv Menon.
Thank you. Come on up, Will. Come on, guys. Come on up. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. Couldn't have done it without you guys being a part of this. We had a real fun time preparing for this. If you could give a round of applause to our wonderful cast. Woo! Let's take a picture. Come around this way. Face my camera. Selfie with this picture. Hey, guys, if you can put your hands up. Wave it in the air like you just don't care. Thank you. All right. Once again, it was my pleasure. Hold on, guys. Just hold on for 1 minute. My company is Informulate. We're the sponsor of this event here. It's, of course, our pleasure to be here and enjoy this event with you. For those who don't know, Informulate is a innovation consulting and software development company based right here in Orlando. Some of our employees are here today as well. We work in a variety of different areas, including technical architecture and AI development. So I'm not against AI by any means, just to be clear. Put that out there. I'm sorry, Mark. That's where the money is. So we do apply innovation methodology when we build products, and that's our core differentiator. Is when we build products, we look at what the business objective that they're trying to achieve, and then we try to build products that actually solve for those business objectives. Next slide, please, Your Honor. And the event that you're at is hosted by Orlando Innovation League. That's our nonprofit that does events pretty much every month. So we have an event almost every month. Sometimes we have two. If you want to support us, please scan that code and feel free to make a donation to support our events going forward. Like I said, we do have events every month. Next month, on the back of your flyer, is our next event called Innovation Stories. Quite a few of these cast members have spoken at those because they're all experts in their field. We usually have experts talking about innovation methodology applied to government. It could be applied to startups. It could be applied to large enterprise. So if you're in any one of those categories, please come by. So thank you all again for being here. Please stay seated for just one moment while I figure out how we're going to take this picture, because it logistically seems a little bit hard.